Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
So
Wait. Yeah, let's set the rules.
Let's set the rules.
Okay.
This is high stakes right here.
Is it one? Is it rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
Yeah.
So shoot on shoot.
Yeah, shoot on shoot.
All right.
And is it
2 out of 3? Oh, it's always 2 out of 3.
Or just one?
No, 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, okay.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ooh.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You, let's go. Bring it home.
All right. Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, dude, here we go. Here it is.
It all comes down to this. Last lap.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah! Let's go!
Fucking
That's how we're going to start this show. Welcome back. Full Beans.
So
I am bean number 1.
And I am bean number 2. Unfortunately. If you're probably watching what we were doing, we're establishing who was bean number 1 and bean number 2. So bean number 1 is going to be your man David, and I am going to be bean number 2.
You know what I think about number 2?
What's that?
You ain't first, you're last.
It's all right. We'll see. I'll play you again.
No,
No.
it's okay.
All right.
And bean number 3 is behind on the computer.
Doing who knows what.
I don't know what history he's deleting.
Just messing with the computer, making sure our set is.
He's not even bean number
ready.
3. He's boss bean.
Boss bean?
Yeah, he's like
Okay.
the bean boss.
The bean boss.
The bossing.
What?
On the bossing, the boss bean. Making sure you guys are actually not going full diva.
He's
Making sure you guys are doing your job. Making my money
I don't like that he's
and making great content.
I feel like you're trying to be like he's a pimp. And he's like trying to control us and stuff.
That's
know?
exactly what you guys asked for like half an hour ago. You guys were like,
You're saying
I
off
like how you
camera
guys-
this was asked for.
Yeah, exactly what you guys asked for. You
I
guys
don't agree.
You guys were like,
I
I
don't
like how
know.
you just like hit record and just like tell us.
Okay,
to
you
go.
know what? I did say that. I
Yeah.
did say I like how he takes control sometimes.
Oh.
But
Like
that doesn't
him.
mean. But that doesn't mean I want you to be my pimp.
It's kind of too bad because I manage you guys and I produce,
So
all
Frankie
this,
likes
so-
to be in control, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you guys like being controlled. Or else you guys
I don't know
wouldn't-
about that.
wouldn't
I
want me
don't,
to
know,
do
I
that.
don't know about that one.
We're gonna fight back. So I don't know if you'd be able to handle Mr. David.
Excuse me, that's not my name anymore.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Now see the beam 1 is not getting.
Yeah, let's go.
Being number 1 is being diva. Our followers on TikTok has gone to his head.
Our 35 followers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you follow us on TikTok, Full
at
Bean
TikTok,
Show.
Instagram.
Both of them at Full Bean Show. All right, let's get rocking.
Yeah. So it's on today of the Full Bean Show. We are going to talk about
Our first oval track on the show. Yet to talk about an oval track.
PPG
PPG.
375.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what they call it. It's sponsored by PPG, the paint company.
Mm.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's an oval.
Novel.
It's not 375 laps though.
I think it is. It maybe the miles.
Maybe it's the miles.
Yeah, because the Indy 500, I think it's 500 miles.
Yeah.
I think so.
Ooh, look at that. A talk show about racing and we don't know what that means.
Yeah.
It's okay, but that's what we're here for. We're here to learn.
We love to learn.
Yes.
So today, yeah, that race was in Texas.
Shout out to whoever drew that Texas flag over there.
Yeah, I love these Texans. That's a
That's
good looking flag right there.
Square.
You know, everything's bigger in Texas, just
Yeah,
like
well,
that flag.
You decided to shrink the flag?
It's not shrinked.
It's not even a rectangle.
Under my eyes, it looks like a very
Well, I think he needs his eyes checked. Anyways,
yeah.
so this was the first race in like a month. I don't know. It's been a break from
A
Indy.
month? I don't think it's
No,
been a
okay,
month.
like 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
I don't know why Indy has a weird like.
Well, they have less races.
They have less races, but it was just weird that
Spread
like
'em out more.
just a massive gap between the first race and the second race.
Yeah, so let's rewind back. Nice one. What's it called? We go back to St. Petersburg,
Florida.
Florida, where we had Grosjean on pole. It was an eventful race.
First pole. It was an eventful race.
Eventful race. A lot of action, a lot of drama. Even towards the end, we even have to even foreshadow to this race the Mexican Paddle Award, almost getting that victory.
Yeah, he gets the victory taken away from him in like the second to last lap, third to last lap, with a bit of a slight engine, I guess not failure, malfunction.
Yeah,
He gets passed by ex F1 driver Marcus Ericsson,
he does.
and Marcus Ericsson takes the lead. Pato Award second, and that's kind of how that race played out.
Yeah, so now let's fast forward all the way to this weekend to today.
Present.
And we go into this this race with who's on pole position?
Rosenquist,
Rosenquist, one of the McLaren man.
McLaren teammate of
McLaren.
Pato Award,
Yeah.
is on pole.
He's on
Quickly, some news coming out of the Indy world
pole. Okay.
that I thought was a little important was Colton Herta's dad has moved teams.
Move teams.
Moved teams.
To where? He left his son?
He left his son.
Oh my god.
I did not know where he went, but he moved teams, and he's no longer Colton's race engineer.
Holy crap.
I thought it was they interviewed him. They asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's okay. Each on like our individual journeys or whatever kind of thing."
Damn,
But,
I wonder how Colton Herta must feel about that decision.
I don't know where. Obviously, we don't know the details or whatever, but I wonder. Like honestly, like I don't feel like if my dad and I were in a position like that, my dad would literally never leave me.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah, he wouldn't leave you.
he would suffocate me till I won something.
Or if you fail, he just blamed you on
Yeah.
your failures and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So,
But that is kind of weird that he left.
yeah, a little bit of interesting news coming out of the world of Indy.
Especially in a world where if you have the more people that you trust around you, the better,
Yeah.
So it is kind of weird. But that is big news. That is big news.
Yeah, some news that I heard.
Is that the only headliner for this weekend going in?
I mean, I think it's the biggest one.
Yeah. Because Colton Herta is pretty good. He's pretty praised on the driver that he is.
Yeah, so that was the news. I guess we can get to we did the news.
That was a good segment right there.
I guess we can get to quali. Quali works a little different here.
All right. Inform me how quali works.
Quali. Well, just in case you didn't, I will.
Okay.
Didn't think so. Quali is set by the average pace of 2 laps.
The average pace of 2 laps.
So whoever has the highest average on 2 laps, like, so they said, okay, we're gonna set up qualifying, and they have everyone goes out one at a time on track, and they said 2 flying laps, and then the average of that of those 2 flying laps sets your pace, like your speed, and then the highest average is on pole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like how Indy takes like these different situations and
It's
different
nice.
ways,
Okay. Well, this is. I think we've kind of talked about this on other episodes and different things, that we do like variety.
Variety.
We like the variety and of tracks, and I guess qualifying formats is one thing. Although I will say that I don't know if they do a good job of like helping us out and understanding it.
It's just thrown out there, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of just like thrown out there.
So
I
I
don't
guess like if you're new, you gotta kind of figure it out.
Yeah, because I was
But-
watching it and I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh. And then like, I figured it out, but it
Gotcha.
wasn't like, they didn't explain. Or maybe I don't know, I tuned in a little too late after the explanation.
Mhm.
Again, like we're a little bit familiar with Indy, but not oval tracks. Like I don't.
No.
This is actually the first oval track race that I've watched from start to finish. And I mean, I guess we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I'm not familiar with oval tracks at all.
Yeah, we've always
Um,
tried to stay away from oval tracks just because of
Well, I will say that just because of like what
the stigma.
exactly the
The
stigma
stigma.
of oval tracks, and we'll get to that in a second.
Uh-huh.
As you said, Rosenquist was on pole. I believe it's his second pole in a row at this track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but last time he didn't. He didn't. I think he finished outside top 5 or something.
Oh, okay.
He didn't do good.
So he gets pole. Is that the only exciting thing that happens in quali?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. So then we get into the race, and then the race. Now this is one of those races that they could add more drivers into the. This would be one of them where like other drivers come in, like outside drivers or anything like that, or no? Or is that any race?
This race, it does have, as we mentioned, some different racers. There was the only owner driver in Indy, Ed Carpenter. He owns the team. I don't know what we're still learning the team names, but he's the one that Connor Daly drives for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think outside of that, I think that's the only person that was like different. I believe.
Okay.
We get a lot of different people on the Indy 500.
Yeah, because that one's huge.
Yeah, I think Ed Carpenter only does ovals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he only knows how to drive to the left.
Yep. To the left, to the left.
But the race begins, and then
Yeah, so we get the race start, and this is, as we said, our first oval race. At least definitely paying attention to it and like watching it like in depth. And Rosenquist looks like he gets a good start, but really quickly, Dixon, Newgarden, and Alexander Rossi they pass him, which again, not understanding exactly how the oval races work at that time, I was like, well, that was dumb. But it kind of makes sense as you like look at it, like break it down a little bit. Being the first person usually you waste the most amount of your resources, so tires and fuel. And so a lot of people like they'll back off to draft. And since everyone's so close to each other on the ovals, where you always, even if like you separate far enough, you're like lapping people, so you still have cars in front of you. You draft. Like drafting is huge. Drafting
it's like
is
if you're
huge.
driving on the freeway and then you drive behind a semi, you have like no air resistance on, so you're just chilling behind him. And then sometimes if you notice, like if you go off to the side and you're like, there's no cars in front of you, and you're like on the gas, and sometimes you feel like, damn, I'm pushing this car.
Yeah.
Like to go up like 60 miles per hour, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same concept right there.
Yeah,
Basic air draft.
It's what I've heard from the little bit of like NASCAR that I've heard and seen, and even like movies like one that I quote a lot, Talladega Nights, when they do the slingshot, and it's one car's in front of the other, and they draft, and then at last second, he pulls out, and then he's got more pace. So drafting is huge, and I mean it's already a big thing in racing, right? But I think on oval tracks it's like more
even huge because it's all about speed there.
Yeah,
it's all about top speed. Like if you watched on our Indy Explain video, we talked a little bit about how the car is modified there, and you can see here all the wings.
The wings are tiny. It was
drastically different than what they are on a regular street or road course.
Which is the issue that a lot of open wheel racers have with ovals, is that these cars are meant to have a lot of downforce to stick them to the ground, right? If in any sort of collision, which is very common on these oval tracks, they can essentially become a wing, and they just fly off into like the fence and stuff. And obviously not having, the structure of like NASCAR and things like that, stock car racing, that it's more dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because any little wind behind under those wings, and then they try to make the car as light as possible, right? So it's just like you said, lift it up, and you're going straight into a fence, or I don't know what. Who knows what you'll land into?
Yeah, to that point, Grosjean came out and said that I think someone in an interview, they asked him what was like the hardest track to learn for you in Indy, and I think he said specifically this one.
Okay.
I didn't hear specifically as to why this one more than other oval tracks, but that oval tracks were like the hardest thing for him to like understand, but that he's feeling a lot more comfortable now, and I mean it showed throughout the race that he was feeling it.
He was being competitive.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole race.
So we don't really. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of laps.
Yeah.
So
there's 250.
250?
Yeah. Right there. 250.
Why this is funny is because I was like, let's put the timing and everything. And he's like, why? And look at that, he's using it against me.
No, I actually knew off the dome.
Okay, but you still.
I just verified on there.
Okay, but look, it's proving you right, so you're mad that it's up there.
Yeah, I didn't say anything out there.
You did, but whatever.
He's not.
Bean one is always right. Was that you had too many beans? Or
Yeah.
Anyways, we don't get anything till like lap 48. Sato, he
crashes.
He crashes and then he DNFs, which brings out a caution.
He just loses like grip, huh?
Yeah, it looks like he just lost it.
Which is kind of common, and what I figured on these oval tracks is that like they push these cars like to the limit, and the tires where any little grip and they're at high speeds and they just can't do anything about it. They're just a passenger at that point.
Yeah, just because you get a little bit of marbles under you.
Exactly.
Any little thing, and since you don't have the sufficient downforce, you go flying. Mm-hmm. Which I mean, he didn't go flying, but he kind of just loses it and he's into a wall. Yeah. Which brings out a caution, which makes throws everyone into the pits, and now here in the pits. Alexander Rossi at this point, he's driving. I mean, he's in the top 5. I don't remember exactly where he was, but he's up there. When he at that point, and something interesting happens that looked like it was like it's something that could possibly happen often, but the way that the commentators like explained why it doesn't happen made sense, and then they gave him a penalty. So what happened was Rossi pits, and as he's gonna come out in the Indy pits, it looks like there's 3 lanes. So the lane that they're in when they're getting worked on, there's what they call a transitional lane, and then there's the outside lane. The outside lane is for people that are either coming into the pits or they've already been worked on. But from this lane, they're not supposed to go directly to the box, to their pit box. So
the lane that's the furthest away from the pit crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they go to the transitional lane, which is the middle lane. And then from there, they go to the box, to the pit box. Mm. So what happened was Rossi gets the clear from his pit crew to leave the box. And as he leaves the box, this guy, Kirkwood, he comes in. And then he just they crash, and it messed up Rossi's car. And then by this point, they kind of roll it back, and they work on it. But by the time he comes back out, so they roll back
Rossi's car.
Yeah, they roll it back into the pit, to the pit box, and they work on it. And he's like, when he comes out, he's like 6 laps down.
Oh damn!
So he had like a big
disadvantage right there.
Yeah, he gets
set back a lot.
He gets set back, and then they go into discussing this right on the broadcast. Yeah, and everyone agreed that Kirkwood was at fault.
He was in the wrong.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you get the announcement over the they tell you the announcement that Rossi has been penalized for that, and the stewards deemed Rossi at fault for that, and they were not sure why Rossi was deemed.
The
penalized. Why he was penalized? Because from what I mean, then when they explained it, I was like, yeah, it should Kirkwood is at fault. And as I was saying, it's weird that the way they explained it, I don't see how they gave it to Rossi, the penalty, because he comes in from the third lane, which is, and then they said the middle one's the transition lane. So you go to the transitional lane so that the pit crew knows, okay, this guy's coming in. He might, for an unsafe release, he's coming in, you let him go, and then you release your driver or whatever. And so that was just a weird thing that I saw that I literally, as we said, we're still learning on this, and I have no clue. But from the sounds of it, not even like the commentators knew why Rossi was given that penalty. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. I don't know why. And that kind of just...
So even like if you're new, you've been in the sport for like a long time, you're intermediate, there might be situations where even the experts might not even know.
Yeah, because they were all like, yeah, it was like open and shut almost. Like how they were explaining was like, yeah, open and shut case. Kirkwood should be penalized, and that's that.
Yeah, so if you're new to watching any kind of race or anything, don't be discouraged or intimidated by not knowing anything, because even the experts
you being
are still...
inclusive and nice.
Huh?
Look at that, you being inclusive and nice.
Yeah, I know how those people must feel, because I bet in racing, I'm pretty sure in a lot of sports, but I bet you in racing is even on a bigger level, that all these people are like a know-how and they know all these rules and all this stuff and all this thing. And it might be intimidating. You might not know that much. So, if you don't know that much, if you're new, don't be intimidated and be able, like, you can still talk about racing with people that are experts and stuff like that. And if that person's being a know-how, well, make sure you watch our videos, because we won't be that person.
We're the opposite. We don't know anything.
That's the truth.
So then we get the restart on lap 60, and then as we mentioned, foreshadowed a little bit earlier, Grosjean starts making his way through the pack, and it looked like he had some pace. The Phoenix arising from the fires, literally, and it kind of, I think the race kind of calms down for a little, and at that point, Pato O'Ward just starts dominating.
It was crazy, huh?
He pulls out. And like even the commentators, they were saying like, we haven't seen a performance like this on an oval track in like years, where he was up. I mean, I forgot, but like he was up a lot. He was lapping everyone. At one point, he laps
third place.
I don't forget. I don't remember who was in third, but he laps third place. It was Grosjean. Yeah, Grosjean makes his way through the pack, and Grosjean's in third, and he laps Grosjean in third. Which, I mean,
it's pretty crazy.
I don't know, I'm basing a lot of the, like, how, like, you say it's crazy, right? But why do you think that? Because over lapping third is like, okay, you're doing really good.
Yeah.
We don't know how it is on oval tracks, right? Yeah, that could be common.
It could.
But I think you're right, because what the commentators were saying was like, this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, that's what I mean, is that it was crazy, because they don't even see this. The experts, again, the experts aren't used to seeing this kind of performance from someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I mean, to third place the podium, to lap him, that's pretty crazy. So,
but then it all comes crashing down when his teammate Rosenquist, the pole sitter, was, I don't know, he was far back there, and
he fell off a lot.
He felt like he got chewed up.
Yeah,
he got chewed up, and he crashes, and there's a caution, and that leads to Pato's lead just erased.
Yeah, diminished.
Yeah, it leads to a race, and then this was interesting, and something that again, another rule that I don't know if it's a rule. I don't know if this was a straight strategy, like from Newgarden's perspective, but so as the caution comes out, the leaders pit. O'Ward, Newgarden, Grosjean, they all pit for new tires, and as they come around a second time, they come out, they leave the pits still under caution. They come around a second time, like Newgarden comes back into the pits a second time for fuel. Now, I don't know if they can't fuel, like, under caution, because, you see them fuel and change tires under regular pits, and I don't know if it was, like, maybe under caution they can't do I don't know why. So I'm assuming it was just strategy and, like, a weird, like, double bluff type thing.
So the first pit stop, they just changed tires.
Just tires. But everyone just changed tires.
No fuel.
No fuel. And then on the like literally as they come around right out, like they didn't even one lap, they didn't even finish a lap under caution. They come back into the pits. Pato's the only one that stays out.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else comes in for fuel. And then this was at that point like, okay, it kind of messed, like it really hurt Pato's strategy at that point.
Yeah, because he's got to save fuel, and these guys can put their foot down.
Yeah, so that was the issue at that point, was that Pato is going to have to be conserving fuel, and everyone else could just go full beans.
Mm-hmm.
Name drop. And so that happens, and he gets eaten up. He gets into like 6th, 5th. He's fighting. He comes back a little bit, but it looks like, it doesn't look like he'll be able to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Then luckily, at least for Pato, with
something about like right there is that I like about Indy is that the race leader, it changes a lot during that time.
Yeah,
you're in. Sometimes you have at certain points you have like Herta in the front, and then he falls all the way back. Then you get Grosjean in the front, then he falls back. Then you get back Award and then Palou and all those guys. So it's good to see race leaders like fighting for the first place, and you don't see the same person in first the whole race.
Yeah. So as we've said that this is one of the things that we really enjoy about Indy, is that it's much more competitive throughout the field.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not the same 1-2 guys at the top of the pack every single week, every single lap. So yeah, it's interesting. So
you do see the same like kind of group on the top of the field.
Yeah, you see the group, but
you see different people being first and second and third and stuff like that.
So I'll try to touch on that again later when we talk about the driver standing, because I kind of have a point to add to what you're saying. So then, like we said, Pato is getting a little bit caught out because of his fuel, his need for saving fuel.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get another caution because I didn't note it. But we get another caution, and this time Pato comes in for fuel.
So that caution saved him.
Yeah, that caution helped him out.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, Palou, Grosjean, and Herta, Palou in the order, Palou, Grosjean, Herta, Dixon stay out. So they end up being the top 4. But from what was interesting was we had just seen Pato stay out and him get eaten up because he didn't come in for fuel. No shock that those 4 after on the restart get eaten up by the ones who stopped for fuel. So I don't know why.
So it was a little deja vu.
I don't know why. We had just seen it.
Yeah.
We had just seen the correct strategy, and I don't know why they felt the need to stay out.
It kind of just seems like almost like like in the heat of the moment, where it's like, oh no, like I got this, like I can stay out, kind of like in fucking cars. Where Lightning is like no, I don't need fuel. I don't need like tires. Or like what was it? It was like tires, right?
Yeah.
Like no, I got this. It's just fine. Because then like obviously he was like up front
but
and saved,
even
like,
to David's point.
But even in that movie, it's close to the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here there were still 40 laps to go.
And even to David's point that he was saying that it had just happened to Award.
Yeah.
So then did these guys not realize, it could happen to them too?
They probably weren't thinking that. Also, which they were like, I can save some time by not going in there.
The previous caution was only 18 laps before that.
Yeah.
So like maybe they make the argument that they did it enough, they fueled enough, their tires were okay.
Or that
Under
they're
the
being like,
Under the caution, they were going to use that much fuel.
Yeah, under the last caution, and then under caution they weren't going to use it, but it literally the restart happens and they eaten up.
They get chewed up.
Yeah.
it's
Newgarden and Pato just cut through them.
Yeah.
So that was weird. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know why they made that call when they had just seen that same call be the incorrect call. So that happens, and we kind of get a good race. We kind of get a good race at the end. There's everyone's fighting for.
Everybody's fighting.
Everyone's fighting. Everyone that was like in the top 6 at that point at that restart, like really had a chance of winning.
It was crazy. Like they're just driving flat out most of that track.
Yeah,
like
and it's you know what's funny about that is when they're on their like onboard camera, you can tell when they have to save fuel because you hear them like letting go of the gas. Like they're not flat out all the time.
They're like kind of coasting.
Yeah, so they're coasting, and it's interesting because you can really like normally I don't know if you can maybe obviously if you know what you're listening to and you're looking at, you can pick it up on a normal race, but here you could really tell because they were always flat out, and then when they needed to save, you hear them coasting. It was interesting.
Yeah. So it gets real spicy towards the end.
Yeah, it gets interesting towards the end, and the same two cars that had been duking it out the whole race, Award and Newgarden, are going at it, and this is where, if you watched or listened to our last Australian Grand Prix F1 podcast, Indy also needs something of an overtime.
They do.
We here, maybe not yet, are big NASCAR fans, but the one race we saw, which was the one at Coda, we saw like they have overtime, and like it was really interesting, and I think it really gives the fans what they want. They want the full 108, 250 laps, whatever, how many laps they want. All of those laps being raced.
Yeah, it might like what we saw in Coda. It might drag the race a little longer than what people expected, but then it finishes on the tarmac, and then it doesn't finish behind the desk. Someone making a decision on their own.
Yeah, it's boring to see it under a safety car. It's boring to see under a caution. Like you want to see them drive across the line, racing.
Exactly, racing.
But they want to see the checkered flag racing. We don't want to see it under caution, and so what happens is, with 2 laps to go, and then this is a tiny oval, it's an oval.
Yeah.
2 laps to go, literally nothing left in the race, and Pato and Newgarden are like neck and neck, nose and nose.
They are.
Like there was like 2 laps right before that in a row where they were next to each other the entire lap.
They were wheel to wheel.
They were wheel to wheel the entire lap. I think they make a little contact at some point, but it was really good racing, and it was like
it was tense.
It was tense, and you feel like Pato's gonna take it because like he got screwed from the last race, so you think maybe there's a little mojo there for Pato that like he could edge it out, especially because he had built such a gap at some point.
He had this race in the back under control.
He had it,
everything,
and all of a sudden, the Phoenix Grosjean, a little bit of a nod to the Grosjean of old, the F1 Grosjean,
making race interesting,
making the race more interesting. I guess. Well, actually, no, he took the interest out of the race.
Actually, he did, and
it was interesting. It was intense.
Grosjean, it doesn't have to be about you all the time, okay?
who crashed out of the last race at St. Petersburg?
Mm-hmm.
He crashes out, bringing out the caution, and they finish the race under caution. So Pato doesn't get and then the thing was like, it was unfortunate that I think Pato had just started to draft him again. Mm-hmm. So if they were side by side, who knows how that would have been ruled?
Yeah.
But he went to draft him to gain some speed, and Grosjean crashes out.
He was probably like, those last 2 laps were probably like the moves where he was going to make,
I had noticed, and like, as I said, I learned a lot watching this race because, like, as we said, is our first oval. I learned that a lot of the times, as I said, the front one, the one in front uses, a lot of their fuel and their tires. And for from 10 laps to go to about 5 laps to go, Pato was really pushing him, and they were like wheel to wheel. But then I noticed there was 5 laps to go, I felt that Pato changed a little bit of his strategy because he couldn't pass him. They would get neck and neck the whole time, and he couldn't pass him.
It was crazy.
And then Newgarden would just stay on the inside. So on one of the 5 turns that there are, he'd get the inside line, so he would be a little in front, and he just couldn't pass him. So what it looked like Pato did was he backed off to draft him to, on the last 3-4 laps, give it full beans and slingshot him in front of him.
Yeah.
So it looked like that was like, and it looked like it was happening. It looked like Pato, like his strategy was working, and Grosjean, being Grosjean, crashes.
So Pato was never able to give it the full beans that he had.
Yeah, it looked like he was gonna get there, and then he gets robbed of another victory 2 races in a row, and Grosjean.
And not even against his. It's not even his fault. You
Yeah, I
know?
know. Both
Out of
the times, they weren't his fault.
Control.
So
Out of
as you can
control.
imagine, he finished distraught. But Ozzy thinks there's a little bit of a little conspiracy theory here
On the war.
for the end of the race. I'm saying.
Oh,
Well,
the end of the race. You're right. I kind of forgot about that.
yeah, because
So,
as you notice, the race is sponsored by PPG.
PPG.
And Ozzy, I have a question for you.
What's that?
What car does Joseph Newgarden drive?
Well, his car is sponsored under PPG. Okay. So I'm not sure if there was some briefcase being handled to a certain person, to a certain garage, some money getting slipped under the garage door or
I
anything.
think they got like free paint.
Free paint for life?
Yeah,
or what?
free paint. Like we'll paint your house and anything else.
Maybe, I don't know, but
That's pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
yeah.
Like
So
good
and
paint,
then
you
the
know?
person who crashes out is Roman Grosjean, and I mean, I love Roman Grosjean.
Yeah,
I
we're
love
fans.
Grosjean.
We're fans.
But Grosjean has had a past record of crashing, so if there needed to be a little
If
scapegoat,
they needed to make it look natural,
exactly,
if they-
Roman Grosjean is the perfect man to go
Yeah,
for.
I mean,
You know,
it's not a bad theory.
so I don't know, maybe something to get.
Oh,
looking.
I forgot to add this at the beginning. I have to add this guy. He's I don't know if he was CEO. I don't know exactly who he was, but I have to add him to our list of horrible, not checkered flag like bearers. He was the opposite. He's the guy who said, "Gentlemen, start your engines."
Okay.
Man, have some enthusiasm.
Was it like
He literally
Gentlemen,
first off, it was
start
hilarious
your
because he goes,
engine.
he's like, "Hi, whatever, blah blah blah." He's like, "PPG, best paint company in the world,"
Oh man,
which
getting that
bold
sponsorship
statement,
in there.
bold statement. I think he was like, that's what I said. I don't know if he was CEO or whatever,
Uh-huh.
but he says it with like the least amount of emphasis.
So
He's
he
like-
was not giving it full beans.
He was not giving it full beans, and you know how we feel about the people that are in these positions, the checkered flag waivers.
They're taking it for granted.
They're just this opportunity they have. He literally goes, "Gentlemen, start your engines," and I was like, "Are you serious, man? Come on,
What are you doing?
bro. Give
You're
it some beans,
You're
man."
supposed to give it to get the crowd up, hyped.
It was horrible.
Oh,
So
my
we got to start making. You know what we got to do? We got to make a wall of shame for these
yeah,
people.
wall of shame.
We're gonna have a wall of shame for these people. We're gonna get on that wall of shame.
Wall of
Sorry, CEO of Apple, what's his name?
Tim
Tim
Cook.
Tim Cook.
Yeah.
Serena unfortunately makes the wall. This guy is gonna make the wall.
Mhm.
We're
For
gonna
the
we're gonna
most.
have the wall of shame of just the worst flag bearers and
And it's for good for this wall of shame. It's to bring some, so the people, the celebrities who go out there, or anybody else there, to bring some, be on their end game and bring some enthusiasm to give it full beans, so they're able to get the race hyped up and get the people into this.
It was bad.
And you know,
it was
it's
was
just-
bad.
it's just
I
getting
don't know if
heated.
you saw. I don't know if you saw that part, but it was
understand.
bad.
But I can't wait till we do the Coda one when they do start your engines. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That one, that's how it should be. But yeah. But hopefully they bring their 8 games. So we're gonna start that wall of shame because
Yeah. So the race
Damn.
finishes. Newgarden takes the win under the caution.
Yep.
Pato Ward finishes second again, second race in a row.
yeah.
Polo-
but it looks like he's gonna compete this year. He
Well, it looks
wants
like
his
he's ready. It
championship.
looks like he's ready to compete. I mean, he's been close before, but this it looks like he's really out there.
Yeah, 2 races where he got the win stolen from him, where he
Although
He was up
in
there.
St. Petersburg, it didn't look like he was fighting for the win.
Mhm.
Before,
But see, that's
Uh,
about Indy.
I mean, no,
Yeah,
that's
you
true.
know?
Before the
It's-
Grosjean and McLaughlin
Crash. Uh-huh.
So before that, he wasn't necessarily fighting for the victory, but then he had it in the bag, and he gets unfortunate,
Yeah.
event. Pelot finishes out the podium, and an interesting thing though, as you're saying, not only is he ready to fight the championship, he's currently the championship lead.
Oh wow.
He's in the
Okay,
championship
let's go.
lead.
So
Frankie, can we get a flick to the standings? Yeah, so he's in the championship lead with 82 points. Marcus Ericsson is close behind with 75,
75.
and then Scott Dixon with 67. And the thing that's interesting, like as you're saying about Indy, is that not a single one. Well, Ericsson won a race last time, but Pato hasn't won a race, and he's in first. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's something with Indy that you don't need to win every single race to win the championship.
Which is something that we've talked about. I think in our test shows that I feel like there should be an extra. You know when you're playing Mario Party, and at the end of Mario Party they have these bonus stars. That, like person who went around the most, blue circles, or person who won the most mini games, person, blah blah blah. They got the bonus stars. I feel like there should be a bonus like fat stack of points for person who won the most races.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, although us being fans of Pato, we like that he's in first, but if say you finish second every single race.
Yeah.
And the person who wins the race, like it fluctuates.
Yeah.
You could win the championship never having won a race.
Exactly.
Which is
kind of bad. Yeah.
Which is interesting, but should it be not that it shouldn't be allowed, but that the person who did win the most race, say someone wins, say Ericsson, who's in second place right now, he wins 3 races, and those 3 races, give you a total of an extra, I don't know, 25 points. Let's say 25 points, and that pushes you, at the end past, whoever's in first, which in this case would be Pato, who would theoretically never won a race.
Yeah, because it's the championship should be like 2 parts, right? It should be the person who has won. It should be like rewarding,
like a summation, like a
because it shows consistency, right? Because if you won the championship and you were in the top 5, you've been consistent the whole time, so that's a good thing, right? But then also the person who wins the championship should be the one who's been getting the wins the most, right? So it should be a combination, like you said, of both, where at the end, if you have whoever has the most win gets this just fat stack of points, and hopefully maybe it can jump them up to the first place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily have to take them into first, right? Because if you're just that consistent, at second place every single time,
then what's the point of going for first if you're just gonna go in for that consistent?
Well, but what I'm saying is that like if the person who won the most races, let's say they won, I don't know, 2-3 races, and those points of that bonus star that we were saying doesn't push you past that person who was super consistent, well then that person still deserved it, right? Because you still got that extra bonus star,
you still
plus your points, and you still lost.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be allowed that a person who never won a race should win the championship. It should just be a little more, I guess a little more difficult, I guess is to say, just that the person who won the most races gets that extra bonus star.
I just see it as an incentive. If the racers know that there's bonus points at the end for the most amount of races win, then they're gonna be racing for that first. They're gonna for that first place, Yeah. So what's it called? That's my point, is the incentive for them to go and push to be first place, which then translate to better racing for the viewers and everybody else.
Yeah.
And it won't be boring or anything
Again,
like that.
Full Beans was just another hot take and great suggestions for these
great ideas out of
his brain. I don't know how we do it. I simply don't know how we do it, honestly.
Yeah, so
we do it all for you.
Yeah. So it was a great race from Pato Award, which is someone who we definitely want to get on here for sure. Hopefully, maybe in the future.
We'll take anyone, but Pato, if you're listening,
to anyone? Mazepin too?
Well, first off, we're talking Indy.
Okay, my bad.
And what's wrong with the little Mazepin in our life?
I know, nothing. He always brought it easily.
He's making it exciting coming here like a Tasmanian devil.
But what's it called? Yeah.
That was it was an interesting race. As we were talking earlier off camera a little, for me at least, the jury is still out on the oval track.
So you're not convinced yet about ovals? Because you've been very.
I will say no. Well, I will say that it's moved the needle in the positive direction for me.
Okay.
Meaning that I thought they were worse, and they could be. This was a good race from what I heard, from what they said, that it was an interesting race. It had lots of good elements and things like that. So, I mean, if the oval races are more like this, maybe they're not so bad. I mean, it was interesting to see that there is different racing as we mentioned a little bit on our NASCAR episode. Was there's some racers that in NASCAR that are only good on the ovals, and then other ones are not good on any other track. So it does require a different style of racing.
Yeah.
And it is interesting to see if you could be good at both.
Yeah. It requires different amount of skills. So, yeah, it's good. It's good to see that because, yeah, like you mentioned on the previous episode that we had done with the NASCAR one, certain drivers might be more skillful at others. So it's able maybe to show their potential, be like, for them to show what they got and show what they're here and why they became racing drivers. So, yeah, it was a good race. It was a good oval one to watch. I hope we weren't too spoiled on this one.
Yeah, it was
for a future to come that are gonna be like.
As you said, the here we weren't too convinced on oval tracks. We're still not. I mean, at least for me, I don't know how you feel. I'm not like it was positive. I'm not like overwhelmed that yeah, cool, we're gonna have an oval track this week. But it does bring a little,
it was better than we thought.
Yeah, it was better than we anticipated.
We maybe fell too much into that stigma where it was going to be too horrible because a lot of people talk bad about it, but it is better than we thought.
Although I do think oval tracks are better for NASCAR just because you can be bumping, you can be, you can ride a wall a little bit. We've seen you ride a wall to win the race. And here on this kind of cars, you can't.
There's no way
you can't touch that, which is it's just I don't know if the oval tracks are best for Indy.
Yeah.
But I think as we get it more into NASCAR and things like that, this race, at least for me, kind of gave me hope for the oval races in NASCAR because I think if we could do this with couple elbows out that are less detrimental to like the race quality, because it doesn't take out the cars, you can see more physicality in it, then it at least for me it gave me like a better perspective and hope for the oval tracks.
Yeah, so we're open to any kind of racing, but obviously there's some that are more exciting than the others, so hopefully this one helped us now for the future for the NASCAR ones that we can get into and spice that one and get our input with our great ideas out there and make NASCAR more entertaining, or maybe it's already as entertaining and people are just flying under the radar and people aren't noticing.
Maybe we'll be the ones to bring more. I mean, because you see the grandstands at these races and they're not full.
Yeah, they're
not.
See
it an F1 race and it's packed.
It's packed.
And then I don't know. I think Indy has certain areas where it gets, because like here where we are, our local Grand Prix is the Long Beach Grand Prix, and that one gets packed.
That one does.
That one gets packed. So there's obviously interest there.
Yeah, maybe people just haven't seen because I mean, like, I know it's all about Indy, but F1, like, just with the show Driver to Survive, F1 racing didn't really change before or after Drive to Survive. It kind of stayed the same racing. It just kind of opened people's eye to what F1 is.
I get what you're saying.
And now now people are into it. And you can see obviously in the States right here now we went from one race in Austin, which is
on its way out.
On its way.
It was last leg.
It was on the chopping block.
Way out.
It was on the chopping block, giving tickets for free, Chivas USA tickets and stuff like that.
That's an insider right there.
So and now we have 3.
Now we got 3.
And we have one of the most expensive race that
I think it's the most expensive
race.
And unfortunately that's the closest one to us.
Yeah. So
if someone wants to sponsor us and get us in, get us tickets.
F1 Las Vegas, if you guys want us to reach out. I mean, you guys can reach out to us at our Instagram.
I'll attend pissed off because of the prices, but I mean I'll attend if someone pays for me.
You'll still go?
I mean, I'll be upset,
Get your free drink and meal.
Food and drinks included. For a good like $2,000 or whatever.
It's a good, yeah, exactly. But yeah, reach out to us on Full Bean Show on Instagram and TikTok, and make sure you follow us on there. Yeah, but that was a pretty good race. I think Frankie, pull up the next one. Which one is the next
Well,
one?
the next race is our local one,
It is our local one.
the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
So that one's always pretty.
It's a street course. It's always interesting.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, I think
that's one that qualifying is
key.
Is key.
Around the fountain.
What was the race again?
It's the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Yeah,
it's in 2 weeks.
I think it should be April 16th.
That one. 14th through the 16th or something.
Yeah, and then they have all types of racing there.
Got that. It's always interesting event. They have like Formula Drift shows up.
Formula Drift.
They got the trucks with the ramps.
Yeah, with the ramps.
With the ramps, they go flying. That's always interesting. It's always a fun event. We'll probably be out there a couple days. Checking it out.
But yeah. I think that's gonna be it from us from here at the Full Beans headquarters.
I'm Bean 1,
and I am Bean 2, and on that bombshell, we are going out. Frankie,
hit the exit music, even though we don't have some.
Hit whatever you got there.
Sure can do.
There's our generic
there it
ass
is.
music. See you guys later.